I can speak because I know the opposition is still interested in a partnership. And I can say the trade union, we are interested in a partnership. In fact, we have been working with a group called ACON, led by my friend Ward Mills. And we have been doing some work. And we are happy for this course because it will certainly help to complement what we have been doing in terms of ACON. I don't believe that globalization, and I heard my friend Mr. Hilton mentioning that it is now an imperative that we have a social partnership because of globalization. Certainly, we should not wait the advent of globalization. The workers at the banana company recently, 660 workers losing their jobs. I'm sure if we had a partnership, we could either save those jobs or we could find a way to minimize the trauma that was created as a result of those jobs. And we have an agenda, a number of things that we want to talk about. Taxation, competitiveness, a number of things that we can talk about. But question is, do we have the fire in our belly to really get a partnership? Do we have the political will? The trade union movement believe that the time is ripe for such an approach. I just want to comment, and Senator Nelson made mention of when the attempts to get the agreements failed. We went to the sectors. We went firstly to, well, in the first place was the Jamaica Public Service. Professor Gordon Shirley, at that time, he was, I think, chairman of the board. And we got an agreement with the Jamaica Public Service. Then we had one with the Water Commission. But the bauxite and alumina sector, I signed that agreement on the 12th of July, 1998. And I can tell you, the bauxite and aluminum industry survived today. Yes, they're presently having serious challenges, but they survived because of that agreement. For the first 5 years, wages were single digit. You know, we had a number of targets, and you know, then we had an agreement also with the banana, with sugar, the MOU in the public sector. So there's evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that the trade union movement has, you know, gone to the table. And the problem is that when we go to the table, either the government or the private sector seems to leave us at the table. We hope that this is not the case. We are prepared, we are ready. Our members across the country want to see the role of cooperation. They want to see the unions, the private sector, civil society, government coming together. We hate, and we're happy that our brother is here talking to us and giving us not necessarily prescriptions, but his experience. But we hate to be talking about the Barbadian experience, the Irish experience, and all the other Singapore experience. We need to start to put our touch, our agreement on the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent Morris, and I will now ask Chris Saka of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica to give a few remarks.
Thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen, when you speak last, you have to tear up half your speech, but at least you can score one-upmanship on the previous speakers. Vincent Morrison, you're my partner in the ongoing struggle to produce wealth, so thank you for your words. I agree and endorse everything you have said. Mr. Golding, opposition spokesman, thank you for being here. Folks, Jamaica is at a crossroads today. Everybody knows that the world is in crisis and things are going to get worse here before they get better. But instead of worrying how bad everything is and how many mistakes we have made in the past, why don't we today look forward? Crisis creates opportunities. Let's grab them now. Let's look at what we can do from today onwards to get things right. First of all, let's agree what the problem is. And in our view, and I think in a lot of people's views, the lack of economic growth is at the root of the problems facing our country. Whether we're talking about debt, deteriorating institutions, or poverty. In the area of debt, we're one of the most indebted countries in the world. Economic growth is the only way out of such a huge problem. In the 45 years of our independence, we have one of the poorest accumulated records of economic growth of all countries in the world. According to CaPRI's own Damian King, countries have done much worse than Jamaica for short periods of time, but we have very few comparisons where we have such an anemic record for 45 years. If we could organize this country to grow at 8% per year, we could halve the debt to GDP ratio and double our standard of living in under 10 years. So if you had one house today, you would have 2 houses in less than 10 years. Many countries, the history of the world is littered with examples of countries which have turned themselves around dramatically from much worse positions than Jamaica. We've heard about Ireland. We can talk about Singapore, South Korea, Costa Rica, and even Botswana. What does Botswana have that Jamaica doesn't have? We can get it right, we can fix the problems. The key to it, and nothing can happen without it, I've become convinced of this in my 2 years as president of the PSOJ. Nothing can happen in this country unless there is consensus. It is futile to think that we can have one party in government accomplishing anything without consensus from all the various stakeholders. Where do we go from here? There are no quick fixes. It's going to take 10 to 20 years. But let's start. Decades of no growth have denuded our social capital, and it has created an every man for himself, dog-eat-dog society. Let us start. I think we need a secretariat. We have the nucleus of such a secretariat in Sancier Templar's unit at Jamaica House, which came out of the PSOJ National Summit last November. We need to build on that. It has to have a home. Let us look at agreeing what the critical, immediate areas for discussion and national consensus are. I'd like to throw out that crime is one of those issues. And I'd like to ask that all of us stop arguing with each other what the priorities are with crime and what the policy prescriptions are. Sit down and agree the legislative measures and other measures to deal with this monster. And secondly, I want to put on the table tax reform. Paul spoke about a flat rate of 12.5% for taxes. Why don't we look at flat rates of 10% on all taxes in Jamaica? 10% at the wharf, 10% GCT, 10% income tax for everybody, no exceptions, no special favors. Across the board, lower the rates, increase the compliance, smaller share of a much bigger pie. Folks, thank you very much. We look forward to the social partnership. Thank you.